Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. And this time we're in Sydney at the Houseproud Cleaning offices and we're joined by founder and CEO Paul Mitchell. G'day, Paul.
Hi Glenn, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having us here today.
You're welcome.
We're talking to a bunch of franchise owners about what it's like to be in a cleaning business, basically, and the Houseproud Cleaning business in particular. So this one's called the franchise business model, the Houseproud franchise business model. And this type of podcast, we like to really dig in and uncover the key attributes about your business model that people might have some interest in there. So, and I know it's typical of a lot of cleaning type business. You've got low barriers to entry.
That's right.
I think that's a key part of it. Can you talk us through the barriers to entry and how low they are in your business?
Well, should I talk about price?
Oh, if you want, go for it. You've got the floor.
Our franchises are less than $30,000. Okay,
Yep.
so it makes it a lot easier for a first-time business owner.
Yep.
It's a very simple kind of a business. Our business, very simple model, just the one fee rather than multiple fees.
Because some brands can have multiple layers.
That's right, yeah. So we try and keep it really simple. We've got a lot of new Australians looking at these kinds of businesses, so we're aware of that, and we try and keep it nice and low for them, especially when they start out in the first 3 to 6 months while they're building their business. And it's, as I said, it's a simple business for them. We look after them big time. So we do all of the marketing, the training obviously, and then the marketing, so that really they've just got to focus on getting to the job on time, doing a good job, and ensuring the customer's happy. And the customers are pretty good. I mean, they're a wide, diverse range of work that we do. Regular home cleaning, once-off cleaning. We also do strata and commercial and a lot of offices. We're getting into a lot more insurance work and NDIS and aged care work as well. So, we create those relationships and then we essentially, give the franchisees access to all of that work.
So you were talking, I think it's not just cost, it's not just low entry costs that keys, but barriers to entry we're talking about. And I think when we were having a pre-chat on this, it sort of really occurred to me that barriers to entry is the key word there for new Australians with language barriers and things like that. A business that's easy, that doesn't require a qualification or certification or anything, I think you play a role there, don't you?
That's right, absolutely. So from the time that they start, we're talking to them every day for the first 3 months minimum. And we do a lot of coaching. I'm available on the weekends for people if they want to come in and do some extra coaching free of charge. Everything's included in the price. The way our model works is that we charge a percentage of their turnover. So we're quite motivated to make sure that they're achieving their financial goals.
Yes.
Because this is a big investment for them, even though it's relative to franchising.
For what everyone else would see as a small investment.
Yeah, but it's pretty important to them. And often when they come to a new country, they're a little bit vulnerable. So we really take them under our wing and try and develop a personal relationship, get to meet the families. I know all the kids. We do a lot of social stuff during the year, where they can bring their kids, and I dress up as Santa and hand out the lollies and toys and all those kinds of things. And it's great for them because often, at one point, 80% of our sales were referrals.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that says a lot. It says a lot for a business when people are saying their friends and family to get into it.
Yeah. So for Kathy, for instance, when she and Edward started, within 3 or 4 years, they brought in a young couple who were friends of theirs, and then that couple brought in another couple 2 or 3 years later, and then that couple brought in another couple. So you look after people and you treat them with respect, and they're forever grateful. They really are.
So you mentioned something about you're not doing like the more a franchise owner earns, or it's based on your percentage of profit is based on turnover, right?
That's right.
What you get. So your model, can you tell us the actual model and fee structure and everything, the way you work it, and what the attributes are?
We give them 2 to 3 months when they first start out of no fees while we build some income for them. And then it doesn't take long to build these businesses. And then once they've gotten to a certain level, we'll introduce a fee. It's roughly 15%. And as their turnover increases, that fee comes down all the way down to about 5% for our really senior and successful businesses. So we want to reward those owners who are, following the procedures and the operations manual and building a really solid business, and make it more financially viable for them.
So, and you mentioned that startup area. How are you assisting them in getting that kickoff area? So that no fee sort of period is pretty important, isn't it? To help them get established, especially for new Australians, like you've
That's
said.
right.
You end up with a lot of attention.
Probably 70% of the upfront fee that we charge to join, we spend on marketing within 6 months just for their area, and we really they get a suburb which is exclusively yours, but they're not restricted to that area. Okay, so if we look at a half-hour drive from where they live, and we try and flood them with work from that area.
Yes,
and it keeps the costs down for them. Makes it better for time management, gives them more time to spend with their family and their kids and so forth. So that's really important to them as well.
So you mentioned family and stuff. I know the 2 franchise partners I've spoken to this morning talked about family orientation of the business and how they get to connect with each other and network with each other and have dinners together. How the business seems pretty built, and they were very close to you, obviously, when you were talking off camera with them. How have you built that around that? You've clearly got a sort of a warmth.
I think that you get out of it what you put into it, and when you look after people and really genuinely go out of your way, they understand that and they respect that, and they stay with you for a long time. So, I mean, this is a 25-year business now, and my 3rd franchisee is still with us, and he's been with us for 22 years now. And so I hold a dinner. Once a year, we take out all of the franchise owners and their partners, and they're welcome to bring their kids as well. And then we get some children's entertainers to look after the kids while we do a little bit of work before the dinner, just present, what's gone on in the previous year and what's to come in terms of marketing and so forth. And it's an opportunity and I'll put them on tables with people who speak their language. All right. So over the years, they form friendships outside of Houseproud as well. And then at Christmas, we hold another function.
That's where you're Santa.
That's when I'm Santa. I'm the skinniest Santa
I was going to say,
around.
Yeah, but said it.
The young kids don't seem to notice.
No. Actually, funnily enough, when you're talking about this, Kathy, who was on the podcast a few episodes, and you might have seen it by now. I'm not sure whether this episode will be live yet. She mentioned to me just in passing while we were off camera, she said she calls you boss, but it's out of respect.
Oh, isn't that nice?
She said, I call him boss, but it's not what you might think. It's out of respect.
No, I don't think I'm very bossy.
Which I think was no, you don't come across as bossy at all. But I think it was a testament to obviously how you're seen by the franchise partners.
That's the joy of running a company like this, is forming those relationships over time. I think, trust is such a big thing in franchising. You hear a lot of bad stories. So I went out of my way to make sure that that was just not who we were. And many of our franchisees are ex-hospitality. They've worked in restaurants when they first come out. They find themselves in kitchens. And so some of them are pretty good cooks. And I like to be invited around to their homes.
So there's a method to your madness then.
I love food. Yeah. And I love the diversity that we have within the group. We're like the United Nations here. We've got people from most countries of the world.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you support them? So the support of the business and marketing and what things. So I'm interested in a cleaning business, what sort of support do you have to provide, or are you called upon to provide?
Well, outside the initial training obviously is very important. Sometimes we have to go back,
for
until
what reason?
people
Someone
pick
just
it up.
doesn't quite stick?
Sometimes, yeah. It doesn't always. It does most of the time. But there are levels of clean, and we need to be right up there.
Yep.
So we're looking for a 5-star hotel service kind of clean for our customers. And essentially, what our customers would love is that feeling that they get when they're on holidays and they come back to their room and everything's perfect.
Yeah,
there are no streaks on the mirrors or in the
great vision.
bathroom. And that's the way we play.
Yep.
some people, when they first come to us, they have a different understanding of what constitutes, a high level of service in that regard. Many of them are a little bit nervous with communication skills and talking to customers on the telephone and so forth. So we'll take that on board as well. So we have an in-house business development manager.
Yep.
We have a priority program where the new people are on that for 3 to 6 months. And then from time to time, things change. Somebody might move interstate, or somebody's gone through an illness, and when they come back, they want to reinvigorate the business, and so we'll go again.
So what's the priority program? So it's a structured program, I gather?
That's right. So we would look at the leads that come in over a metropolitan area, and we'll funnel those towards these people on this priority program. We'll coach them through the jobs, and then we'll also follow up with the customer and get feedback and so forth, so that we can pass that on, so that the franchisee doesn't feel like they have to do that, which might make them a little bit nervous at first. But after they've done it a bunch of times, they get the hang of it pretty quickly, and they take that on board themselves.
Yep.
We're pretty strict around our operations manual. There's a lot to it. Because I did the cleaning when I first started the business. I did the cleaning myself for 7 years, and I had customers. Well, I had a customer once who, when I knocked on her door and she opened it, she said, "Paul Mitchell, I could set my watch from your knock on my door." And that's what I'm after, because in these services businesses, time is of the essence. And the reason that we're in business is because people are time poor.
Yeah.
So time's very important to them.
Yep.
And therefore it needs to be important to us as well. We need to be really organised. We need to get in, get our work done, and get out and move on.
So you said you've been in 25 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've obviously built quite a name in 25 years. What's the development of the brand looking like, where it's at now and the future, and where you're heading?
I can't believe it's 25 years. It just seems like yesterday that I started it. But we've got a lot of goodwill out there. We are preferred supplier to a lot of large, strata companies and insurance companies, because they want to deal with a company that they know is not going to go under next week. They figure that if we've been doing it for that long, we know what we're doing, and it just adds another level of trust. And customers need to trust us in a way that they don't worry about so much who dry cleans their clothes, as long as it's done properly. But they do care very much about the person who has a key to their house.
Yes, very personal, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and I guess that's the difference.
Yeah.
We really need to make sure that we keep our commitments. If we say we're going to do something, then we do it.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for telling us more about the Houseproud business. No doubt there's plenty more to come.
Yeah.
And thanks for inviting us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And that's it for another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. If you like this, please share, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. It helps us out. And I will be catching you in the next one again soon.